I've just come back from Aircon.
But how was your trip? Hi, I'm Julian and this is Libby and we are from BoxedMeeples. You found us right here on YouTube, but we're also on all sorts of other social media as well. Now, Aircon. I would say that's the kind of second biggest board game convention we've got in the UK after the UK Games Expo.
Yeah, for sure. There are other conventions, obviously, but some of them more sort of Comic-Con or more video game based. But in terms of just board games, tabletop games, yeah, definitely I think it's number 2 and growing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I couldn't join you because I had work, which is frustrating. So I've been kind of vicariously living through you and your experience there. But it looked like a really fantastic event, and I'm eager to know more.
Yeah, I would thoroughly recommend anyone who's wondering about whether they should take the trip. It was a wonderful weekend, so definitely do. And yeah, I think the only way is up for that convention for sure.
But it wasn't going to be an easy convention for you to get to. So obviously you were going for work.
Yes, which is it's good and bad because you kind of itching to get to do some of the other stuff that you're having to work during. But
And as I'm kind of waving you off. It starts snowing. It got really cold, and I would say it's kind of typical for British weather. But getting snow in March isn't always the case.
No, particularly for us, we're sort of in the southern part of the country, so it does tend to be that little bit warmer than further up north. So, I think we were looking at the forecast in the couple of days running up, and the friends that I was travelling with were sort of, oh, should we go the night before to avoid the snow or not, and things. But yeah, we got there fine. It was not too bad a drive.
It was a lot of snow you got up there though.
Yeah, I mean it was coming down at some points, and yeah, Friday morning. I had not brought appropriate footwear, it turns out, and I had very cold, very wet feet for quite a while.
Well, so you got there for kind of setup day.
Yes. Yeah, so sort of get the stand set up for the Cosmos Devere stand that I was working on, get all that organised, get all the games set out for demoing and all of that kind of stuff. And that was lovely. We arrived, and as soon as we were getting our badges, I ended up meeting Rodney and Chaz from Watch It Played straight away with my friend, and they were super chatty, super welcoming, really friendly. And I felt like that was the vibe for the whole of the convention. Everyone was there to make new friends, have a good time, and it was just a really friendly players con.
Yeah, you do hear about that. I mean, there's certainly exhibitors there showing new games, showing popular games.
Yeah.
But the more you hear about people's experience, it's all about what went on outside of that. Playing with new people, finding new people to play with, and playing some games in their quite broad library from all accounts.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, we set up. I think Travelling Man did quite a lot of the library. We sent up a load of games for people to play in the library, as I'm sure did many others. And yeah, so it was quite nice. I of course got my library card on the first day, and we sort of went and sort of played a few games. That first evening, actually, we ended up meeting up with Alex that we've chatted to before from the Foster Meeple Discord.
Yeah, we were going to meet up him recently in London, but that didn't pan out. So I'm pleased you got a chance to actually play some games.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, with my colleague that we were working with, we ended up playing Scout, the three of us, and that was both of our first times of playing that, which was nice.
Nothing but good things about Scout. Yeah. People keep talking. I don't know a great deal about it, but it's obviously an oink game.
Yes.
But people seem to really love it.
Yeah, and I feel like it was like one of the games of the con last year.
Right.
And because we didn't make it up there then, I felt like it felt sort of serendipitous to play it there. Almost. But yeah, and the oink game stand was opposite me, so you sort of sit there all day looking at all the fun things that they've got on there.
There's quite a few titles now for oink game I'd like to play more. We've only got a few of them. We've got Deep Sea Adventure, and we've got Fake Artist. But yeah, I'm hearing increasingly excited things about oink games.
Yeah. So, and then later on in the evening, after we'd sorted out hotels and all that faff, we came back and played a game of Trekking the World, which I taught my colleague and another new friend from the from the show, and that was nice. My colleague likes the sort of mid to lightweight.
It's a great entry level game. I think Trekking the World. It's got particularly with people who have played a few games but not a ridiculous amount, I suppose, because it has got some complexity in it without it being so overwhelming. It's kind of daunting. I think it's a great kind of introduction.
You can get into some interesting gameplay where you can sort of purposely block people, or you can do the special actions and things like that. So it does feel like it's got a little bit going on, but it's certainly not complicated to explain, you know, teach and things like that. So yeah, we had a good time playing that. So that was nice.
And that's the first evening, and then we go into show days.
Yes.
So the main show is on. So it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was the main show event.
Yeah,
days.
yeah. And of course, on my agenda, guess what's high up on my agenda.
I know full well you would have seen the Bring and Buy.
Yes.
And gone, I need to go there.
Yes.
As soon as possible.
Well, I sort of planned my lunch hour for the Friday so that people would come in on the Friday, drop their games. And I'm very glad that I did do it on the Friday, because Saturday's queue for the Bring and Buy was extensive.
So was it like Games Expo where you have a kind of refreshing amount of games, or was it a case of these are what's going to be sold this
Yeah, I think a lot of people did come for the duration, so many people would have dropped them off on the Thursday or the Friday morning, but there certainly were some people dropping games off Saturday morning.
Right.
I didn't notice Sunday morning, but that's not to say that they weren't. They probably were. I just wasn't in that vicinity at the time.
I'm more amazed you only managed. You did 2 trips to the booth?
No, just one.
I'm surprised by that, because at Games Expo we were kept on nipping back in, convinced there was a bargain that just arrived that we were going to miss out on.
I've lied. I went in on Sunday, but I resisted. Be proud.
Well, you're the queen of Bring and Buy. You might have seen our other videos at Games Expo. You got some incredible bargains. And,
yeah, I did.
And you did this time.
Yes. I mean, these two are very new to the shelves for anyone that noticed. Yeah, picked up from the Bring and Buy, both in excellent condition. It even says so on the sticker. Cool. So
got to trust that.
And I think, I mean, this looks barely touched. And I think in terms of like retail versus what you can buy, you can't get in the UK at the moment.
No, and you've wanted Ironbound for a while.
Yeah. I mean, you've enjoyed playing that one as well.
We've played it, a friend's copy, and enjoyed it. I think I joked at the time with some various people on social media. I said, once you've bought, we've now got 3 Red Raven games.
Yes.
I think that's the ticking point. Now you're going to want them all. Certainly the mainline games.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Yeah. But basically, you know, I can't really say a price for this because it's not actually available. No. But I paid, I think, about roughly what I would have paid in retail for this for the 2. So I was pretty happy with that.
And it's in lovely condition. Whoever had it before, thank you for looking after it so nicely. I mean, because Wonderland's War looks new. Yeah. And you know, there's a certain amount of variability of how much people. I mean, some of our games, for example, get quite dinged up because we take them to, you know, to friend's house or to board game club, and you can see
we're very careful. We're always putting them a game bag and things, but you know, after a while, someone slips and drops a lid or something.
Or even just, you know, you put it down on a table when it's not entirely a clean table because you play in a pub, so sometimes there's kind of stickiness on some of the bits. We try our best, but this looks pristine.
Yeah.
So I was kind of excited you bought that because it's been on my radar for a while as well.
I mean, I should have saved it for a birthday present. But I'm foolish, aren't I? Yes. Yes.
So how busy was it?
We were really busy on the stand, actually. I spent quite a lot of my time talking about Lacrimosa to people. We weren't doing full demos of that game, but I was very much talking through the mechanics and how it all works to give a real sort of vibe of how the turns work, what your options are, and what you're attempting to do and things. So that was quite fun. It's really hiked up the want to get that one back to the table and have a few more games, because we haven't actually played that one at a 2.
No, you played it at 3.
Yeah, so it would be nice to see the different player counts.
At the time, I'm not sure if it had been released or it had just been released. So it was kind of very much a learning game because there wasn't. We often go to various YouTube channels to learn how to play games through them. And the problem is when you're having games that haven't been released yet, or on the cusp of being released, or just been released, there isn't that resource to go to. So it's very much, we've got to read this rule book. Yeah. This seems alien to us.
I mean, luckily we did have a friend who'd played it before to do the teach. So I was teaching, having never done a teach before, so that was slightly daunting, but hopefully it went okay. But the rest yes, me too, definitely. And the rest of it was I mean, a lot of people are excited for Inside Job to come out. I think Matthew Jude certainly took that one away and had a great time. By all reports, and a lot of people are excited for like My Island, My City Roll and Write, those kind of things. But what we spent most of the time doing was playing Dodo and Savanac Forest with people, which are two great games.
People love Dodo. It's become like this central point when people are coming around going, "Oh, can we play Dodo? Have you got Dodo?" Which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, some people came back, one day to the next and said, "Do you mind if we play it again?" It's like, no, go for it.
Yeah, big fans of Dodo.
So fun.
Yeah, and it was nice that people were getting to see the expansion for Robin Hood.
Yes. Loads of people coming and saying, "Oh my gosh, so glad this is out. We've had such a good time as a family playing this game." And the problem,
it's
so different.
Not that's necessarily a problem. Is being a kind of campaign game. Once you've played through it, you know what's going to happen. So by having an expansion, it's extending that life. Of that game.
Although it does change depending on what characters you've got in the game and what choices you decide to make because of that. So there is that.
But yeah, I'm excited that we get a chance to play that as well. So.
Yeah, and Savanac Forest is coming into the UK. Hopefully in April next month. Yeah, I mean, it's booked into a port, so at some point it's got to make its way to a warehouse. But everyone seemed to be absolutely really liking that one. I mean, it looks so pretty. I think we'll have maybe a playthrough and a teach coming up soon. So if you're interested in that game, then do watch this space.
But on all of the videos I've seen from other people talking about Aircon, it's always been the kind of the big events that are getting the most kind of discussion. These I've what was it called? Just 100 was it, or
Giant Just One? And so we were all in a room, and I think we started maybe 16 different groups of all playing a game of Just One, and then all of a sudden the sort of sirens would go off and the tables would merge, and then we were 8 groups, and it's funny because you'd kind of think, gosh, I've got to think outside the box a bit more here,
really would.
But you've still got to be a bit more obvious. And we'd merged into at that point, we'd merged into sort of 4 original groups into one. And we managed to get around where not one person doubled up. And it's like, how is this happening?
I was thinking, what's going to make it really easy? Because whoever's guessing, we're going to have many more clues. And
not necessarily.
But because there's more people writing down the words, there's more chance of crossover.
Yeah, and then they get more abstract, so they can send you down a wormhole if 2 people have taken something in the same tangent, let's say, but they've given you different words. Then it could steer you off track potentially, but it did work quite well. In the end, there was about 100 people around, and a fun game. And it turns out you can have as many copies as Just One as you like or just get some extra like whiteboard wipey card things for however many people you've got around the table. You can play that game with any number of people.
I always say I think it's one of my favourite social games. Super easy to explain, and everyone enjoys it.
Well, and I think those sort of events that were sort of hosted by What You Played, so everyone seems to be sort of taking inspiration from them at the con and sort of going off. So we then went to one of the evenings, we went over to one of the hotels, and in the lobby there was a whole load of us again playing Just One and having just such a laugh, making new friends and chatting, and we're all into the same stuff. We're all having a real fun time. It's just so nice.
That's what's great about when you meet up with people. Obviously we enjoy a somewhat niche hobby, but when you meet up with people at these conventions, or when you meet up with them from maybe Discord, you don't really have to kind of suppress that. It's not a case of, I like board games, I play a bit of Monopoly and Trivial Pursuit. No, if they're joining a Discord, I'm sure I've said this before, or they're going to a convention, they really love board games.
Yeah.
They know a difference between a deck builder and a worker placement. You don't need to pretend, I'll explain what a worker placement is. It's full on geek time.
Yeah, and my gosh, the knowledge in those rooms. Like,
well, you did
an encyclopedia of board games could be done.
You also did the like a pub quiz style thing.
Yes, that was fun. So we were at a table all together, and you had to answer on each other's phones, but we were like, oh, if any of us win, we'll share the prizes. And Dave at Loserpalooza, he won some chocolates from that one, so that was lovely and wonderful to have met him, because we already had met Ilka from last year's Games Expo, and then I caught up with her again at Essen when I was there. Briefly, because she was very busy running about doing lots of things, so that was lovely.
Well, it's lucky only one chocolate, because there's the raffle, and some of the prizes you could win were ludicrous. It's so much stuff.
Oh my gosh, the raffle was so busy that I don't know if you could fit any more people in that room. It was boiling, because just the general body heat being generated in such a small space. We're all sort of wedged in like penguins, and there's these 6 glorious tables just rammed full of games, any one of which would have been a fantastic win. I mean, everyone was very generous to give to the raffle, and it's all going towards charity, and I think they must have raised £6,000-7,000, something like that. I think it's been rounded up to 7 and then split between the 2 charities, which is amazing. And everyone's sort of desperate to win these massive table of games. Wouldn't it be fantastic? But then there's an awful lot of chat in the room, which was hilarious. It's like, wouldn't it be great to win that room? How am I going to get this home? And there's some of the people I was chatting to. Exactly.
Or got trains over.
So I was chatting to Dutch Yoda, who, if you don't know him, he does a lot of Twitch, so head over and have a follow. And he's sort of talking about if he won the table with Frosthaven, would he have to book another seat on the aeroplane for the game to sit on? Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately he didn't win, and probably a good thing, because came up with a lift with some friends, and who knows where we would have fitted that in the car. So
it's the undoing of generosity, I suppose.
And
you said one thing you won't be able to watch. A lot of this stuff is obviously streamed, or is going to be streamed, but the Q&A from Watch It Played,
yes, that one they've kept, I think, just for the con. But some of the other things, like the On the Radar and things, which unfortunately I missed because having to work on the stand, but there were some things we managed to sort of do in the evenings and things, or sort of tag team in and out to get to some of those things.
I was very envious. I won't get, because the Watch It Play group are amazing, and they felt, it seemed they're being very generous with their time and going around just mixing with people. They weren't being aloof or every time you see people, it's like there's pictures of Rodney, there's pictures of Paula, all playing games together, and I know the brothers Murph were there, and
or just
one brother Murph.
Yeah.
But so I was envious about that. I was envious though with the food, because the food looked amazing.
Oh, but let me just talk to you about the Q&A.
Right. Okay.
Because I was saying about taking inspiration from the Just One event and then running with that, and you said that Just One you think is one of your favourite party games.
Yeah.
I have a new party game that I think you're going to love. So we were taking inspiration from one of Paula's answers in the Q&A, had to do with a game called Poetry for Neanderthals. And one of the people that I was with in the group had never played it, but happened to have it with her at the con. And it basically has this like inflatable club, like a Mallet's Mallet, kind of.
It's a very English
Timmy
joke.
Mallet. It's a very English joke, but roll with it. Yeah, you basically got an inflatable club, and it's one of those word describey games again. Much like Just One is, but instead of having to write a different word on a plaque or anything, in this one you're having to use monosyllabic words like caveman, Neanderthal words to describe the thing on the paper, and there's a shorter word that get you 1 point, or there's a longer word that will get you 3 points within your team. But obviously, if you say any words with like 2 syllables, if you break any of the rules, you get hit with the caveman club.
That explains the picture. I saw a picture of you being malleted.
Yes.
I think it's a fair statement.
No, I think I was holding.
Oh right, yes, yep.
Yes. Like raring to go. Yeah. I think you would really enjoy that one. Great for parties. Like, we laughed so much. That was really fun. And again, like in a group with new friends, new people chatting with. Before the con, I'd not met any of the people that I was playing that game with, and I was, at their house enjoying a wonderful time. This was just before we went to the other giant Just One at the hotel, which was fun. But yes, the food trucks were amazing. I mean, there's lots of places in Harrogate to go out for food, obviously, delicious things. But at the con, they do provide these food trucks. The first night we had Greek because a lot of people had sold out because they were so busy.
Wow, okay.
So so there was, I think, by the time we got there was like 2 stands left open and there was sort of half an hour left of them serving time. And so we had a lovely Greek, that was delicious. But what I was really in it for was the poutine. So I was very pleased that another night, the following night maybe, we managed to sort of get off the stand, head straight to the food trucks.
Joining the queue for the poutine.
Yes, and I had a Cluck Norris.
Obviously. That's what I would have got.
Which obviously is chips, gravy, cheese, chicken and bacon. Sorry for any of those vegans out there, but there were other options. But yeah, it was good. It was really good. And because the only time other than that I've had poutine was when we were in LA in the food trucks. And it was great then. So next up, we need to sort of upgrade and actually have it in Canada.
May as well.
Yeah.
While we're there.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But there's lots of kind of niches, around the food. There's lots of niche stalls, which look lovely. And I do enjoy that at Games Expo, just kind of walking around, not really with any agenda or with any shopping list, just seeing what quirky things you can get. There's some cute things as well.
Yeah. I mean, there was loads of great stuff. There was some people that I chatted to that did like printed T-shirts and things and mugs and bits and pieces. I know someone did really, really well who did some 3D printed bits and bobs in nice bright colours and trays and all sorts. And their stand looked pretty stripped bare towards the end of it. And I did manage to pick myself up a new pair of earrings which have some cute little meeples on there. So I was pleased to pick those up. But yeah, so there was definitely some little gems that you could get around. And there were gems of games as well, because obviously you've got the sort of main exhibitors section, some of which were people that were going to Kickstarter, but a lot of which were general shops and traders or publishers, distributors, and then we had a few of the sort of T-shirts and other quirky bits and pieces, clothing and bits and bobs. But outside of that, you've got the sort of playtest area where people are designing different games and having people come and sort of try them out. There was a few friends of ours there, so Julie Bear Games were there. We've done a video previously on Ecosphera. They're going live on Kickstarter soon, so you can always check out our video for that. Our friend Mike was there with his game Pandora Celeste, and was getting some really nice reviews and honing that down before it does get towards that Kickstarter stage. And it's really nice to sort of see games at that sort of starting point.
I was going to say, seeing Gun Tower Games is still on the process of designing this, getting it ready, and at the other end of the spectrum you've got games from Descent. You've got Library Labyrinth, which is now at the point of being on the cusp of being sent out. We saw that obviously very early on when we were doing the Kickstarter video, so it's nice to kind of see that evolution of how games are made.
And get that chance to play, and potentially even your idea when you're playtesting with them might end up honing the game, which is a bizarre thought.
But lots of eyes on it, and lots of ideas that come bubbling to the surface. And if obviously enough people are saying the same things, it's obviously a great idea. But sometimes just that one gem could come out of it that just really elevates the game. Yeah,
lovely to sort of support people that are sort of living their dream of being able to bring their idea into fruition.
And I think that's nice. That seems to be the overwhelming feeling you get from these kind of conventions, that it's just lots of people, like-minded people, getting together and having a fantastic time. And long may it continue. I'll be hopefully there next year.
Yes. Although you did chance a little bit of luck. You thought you'd missed out entirely.
I was kind of gutted that I didn't get a chance to meet. Lots of people we talked to online. Obviously, we're in Britain, and a lot of the kind of YouTube content isn't, so it's coming from particular people we talk to a lot. So knowing they're in the country and I didn't get a chance to kind of meet them was a bit gutting. But as you might have seen on Twitter, Rodney Smith needed a favour.
He did.
And I work in central London, as it would happen, literally 10 minutes from where he was staying with his wife after going to Aircon. So we kind of crossed paths. I helped him out with a video there. He said some really lovely things
He did.
about our channel.
He was very kind.
And then we got a chance to meet up afterwards. Ironically, didn't play any games.
No. I haven't played a game with him yet either, so at least we're on par.
But it was just really nice to chat to him, and we had sort of a few hours together, just talking about all sorts of things, in terms of content creation and just board games in a whole, and about life, and it felt like a kind of kindred spirit. As I was saying earlier, you don't have to put up a front of diluting your passion for something when you're talking to these people, and it was just, there's that kind of instant connection, that kind of warmth and friendliness about him, and it was lovely. It was really just sometimes these things happen, and it was just, as a result, a really nice kind of experience, and it kind of a highlight of my week, really.
Yeah, well, it's nice to know when you meet someone who you've seen an awful lot and you sort of have an idea of how they might be, and then they do turn out to be a wonderful person. That's lovely.
It was really great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will be hopefully joining you there next year.
Yeah.
But we are obviously going to the UK Games Expo
Of
later
course
in this
we
year.
are. Yes.
So that's in
June.
Yes, in a few
Beginning
months'
of June,
time now.
not far away.
We'll be doing content from there. And if you do see us at these, as you were discovering, please do come over and say hello, because it's always great to talk to people.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who watches and did come and say hi. It was a surprising number of you compared to what I was imagining. That were like, do I know that? I think I know your face. So thank you for watching.
Yes, and that's also obviously lovely for us to hear that people, that you are enjoying the stuff we do. So please don't be shy about saying hello if you do see us at these things. So yeah, that's been Aircon.
That's Aircon. It was wonderful. Cannot wait. The countdown is on already.
Well, if you've been enjoying this content, please do consider subscribing to our channel for more of this and obviously coverage of the UK Games Expo. If you've really enjoyed it, there's a like button. So give that a tickle.
And you can ring the bell. You get notifications of all the videos that we put up.
You'll be told when there's more content. We try to post a video at least twice a week.
Yes.
Always about board games. So if that's your thing, join us as we post plenty of video.
For now, we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching.
Bye.